Why are more and more people uncomfortable inviting friends to their homes? The answer is simple, and a few individuals with experience have shared their thoughts on this matter. Hello, and welcome to Buddha Zen Wisdom. We're here to accompany you every day with meaningful reflections and insights. Today, I'd like to share something with you that has been on my mind. If someone were to ask me what qualities define a true friend, my thoughts would immediately turn to the advice my university class president once gave. He said that if you've been to someone's home, if you have their home phone number, then you can truly consider them a close friend. This was in the late 70s or early 80s in a small town. Back then, when parents made new friends, they'd often invite them over to their homes for a meal. Even if they didn't sit down to dinner, they'd invite guests over for a cup of tea, just a casual way of getting to know each other. Good friends would enjoy spending time together at home, cooking, playing cards, or even gathering to sing with a karaoke machine or a home DVD player. I remember how, after dinner, neighbors who lived close to one another would drop by for a quick visit. They'd sit around and chat about life, sharing small talk, sometimes about absolutely nothing. I recall that Uncle Lee, who worked with my father, was the first person in the building to own a television. Every evening, our place would be filled with children watching cartoons, and later, the women would gather around to watch soap operas. Some people would bring wine or snacks, and a few of the aunties would bring dishes from their homes. In a way, this informal gathering would make up for dinner. Today, the concept of doing the rounds to visit friends and family has evolved, and the importance of hosting has grown. However, it also requires more time, effort, and attention, which has naturally led to fewer invitations to visit others' homes. Nowadays, when we make new friends, we love to meet up for meals, but instead of going to each other's homes, we tend to choose restaurants in busy shopping malls or popular spots known for their good reputation. Friends we're really familiar with might opt for street vendors, where the food isn't always as high quality or as neat, but it's a more casual option. When we do hang out, we often find ourselves strolling through parks or heading to a karaoke place to sing loud and proud. More often than not, after these get-togethers, we disperse in the shadows cast by city lights, each of us heading back to our own homes. We have gradually become uncomfortable with using our homes as venues for social interaction. Now that I think about it, a home is inherently a private domain. It's where we can relax and enjoy personal moments. However, it's interesting to note that, despite this privacy, we've always reserved a public space within our homes, the living room. The term living room itself suggests that it's an area meant for hosting guests, specifically designed as a social space within the private confines of the home. From ancient architecture to modern residential designs, the inclusion of a living room has never been omitted. Even in today's ever-increasing housing prices, it remains a standard feature, with even a one-bedroom apartment reserving space for a living room. But why have we gradually stopped inviting people into our living rooms, or why do we feel increasingly hesitant to engage in social activities within others' living rooms? What factors have contributed to this shift? I came across some insights from a few women that really struck a chord with me, and I think they may shed some light on this phenomenon. The first insight: space constraints and privacy. Lou, a 45-year-old woman from the city, explained that her living space is simply too small to entertain guests. I live in a 100-square-meter apartment with my husband. Our child is in high school and stays in a dorm during the week, only coming home on weekends. So, when our son is home, the 2 rooms are taken, and we're left with a small storage room. Every time friends or family come to visit, I have to politely refuse, she said. It's simply too cramped to host them comfortably. The stove is small, and I can't prepare enough food for everyone. I can't ask people to eat in shifts either, so I end up reserving tables at a restaurant. It gives everyone more room to move and relax, and it avoids the cramped, suffocating feeling that can happen when too many people are squeezed into a small apartment. Lou went on to share that her relatives and friends often criticize her for not allowing them to stay in their new apartment, but she explained that urban living, especially in places with high real estate prices, just can't compare to the spacious homes in the countryside. While cities provide undeniable convenience, they also impose limitations when it comes to the kind of hospitality people can offer. The second insight: unwanted habits of guests. Another woman, Fong, shared that she's no longer comfortable with the social habits of some guests, especially when alcohol and cigarettes are involved. "I don't mind when my husband invites guests over, but I cannot tolerate the behavior that often accompanies dinner," she said. "When men gather to talk business, there's inevitably smoking and drinking. I can handle a little bit of smoke if it's necessary, but it's when they start drinking excessively that I start feeling uncomfortable." Fong shared a story from when she was newly married, and her husband invited friends over for a meal. At first, she thought it would be fine. After all, these were his longtime friends, and she thought they'd be polite and civil. But once they began drinking, their behavior completely changed. They were like wild horses, drinking uncontrollably and trying to outdo each other, Fong said. "I was shocked. It was nothing like I imagined. From then on, I asked my husband not to invite guests over for meals at our home. If they want to meet, I'll suggest going to a restaurant." This experience made her realize that certain behaviors, drinking excessively or smoking indoors, are simply not something she's willing to tolerate in her personal space. For her, it's better to avoid the situation altogether. The third insight: managing the chaos of children. Lastly, Zhao, a 49-year-old woman, shared her frustration with the behavior of children at social gatherings. "Nowadays, children are treated like little treasures," she explained. "They're pampered so much that they've become uncontrollable at times. And what's worse, many parents don't believe in disciplining their children, which only adds to the chaos." Zhao explained that her sister once brought her 3-year-old grandson to her house during a holiday visit. The child was running around, pulling things down, and creating chaos wherever he went. Zhao's house wasn't exactly a big place, and the damage the child caused was considerable. The walls that were once white turned a dull gray, and the furniture I had bought for my son's wedding was broken. I had to put on a brave face and act like it was okay, but inside, I was frustrated. Zhao mentioned that her son even scolded her for allowing the child to run rampant, but she couldn't bring herself to say anything to her sister. Eventually, she decided that, from then on, she would avoid hosting gatherings at her house when children were involved. The realities of life. These insights highlight the complex nature of modern-day socializing. In the past, people would happily invite friends and family over to their homes, where everyone would gather, eat, talk, and enjoy each other's company. But today, various factors, space limitations, the unpredictability of guests' behavior, and the changes in family dynamics, have made it harder to open up our homes for socializing. While it's important to recognize the value of true friendship and hospitality, we also need to be aware of the changing dynamics in modern society. It's no longer as common to host gatherings at home, and social activities have shifted to more public spaces like restaurants or entertainment venues. As we navigate this new reality, we should consider what truly makes us comfortable and what kind of friendships we want to nurture. In the past, gatherings were a way to strengthen bonds, but as time goes on, people have become more focused on maintaining their personal space and privacy. And while this shift may seem like a sign of individualism, it's also a reflection of the pressures of modern life. We live in an era where time, space, and energy are increasingly limited, and sometimes, it's just easier to meet at a restaurant or a park rather than hosting someone in our private living rooms. But that doesn't mean that genuine friendships are disappearing. Rather, it's about adapting to new ways of connecting with others. The essence of friendship remains unchanged, even if the settings have evolved.